Your effort doesn't matter and it won't be rewarded. Your success isn't tied to your hard work, your ambition, how smart you are, how insanely awesome your product is, how great your idea is. It doesn't matter. Not when you're launching something new, when you're launching a brand new endeavor. When you're launching a brand new endeavor, it takes an unreasonable amount of effort to get a very mediocre result. It takes an insane amount of work, sometimes, to get no result. And unless you can learn to let go of the outcome and embrace the output, turn your ambitions towards the output, you might quit before you even get started. You might give up before, as I say, the miracle happens. When I first started in real estate, I think back to the long 12, 14, 16-hour days. Sometimes on a weekend, I'd spend 2, 3 open houses, the whole day just doing 2, 3, or sometimes even 4 open houses, 2 hours at a time, sitting in a mostly empty house, waiting for buyers or sellers to show up. Very often, I'd have a whole day where I might see 3 or 4 people. And part of the problem is I'm kind of an acquired taste. I don't quickly make friends. I don't quickly put people at ease in that kind of a situation. So I felt a little bit like a used car salesperson, and people reacted that way to me. So here I was working my butt off, spending all day at the open house and walking away with not one client. And it wasn't just that one day of open houses. The day before, I'd gone and looked at all of the properties that could be potential competition for this open house. I wanted to make sure I studied the stats, so I was ready to be the expert and talk about the house and how it was positioned in the market if anybody showed up. So I would spend hours and hours at an open house, no results. Somehow, after many months of no sales in real estate, I fell upon my first clients, and I found them by running a random Craigslist ad of all things, and they responded to the ad, and I signed them up as my buyers, kind of informally. They weren't even really committed to working with me. They lived in another state, but I set them up on a search through the MLS, and I sent them properties that might fit their criteria. And I did all kinds of work on their behalf. Anytime they saved a property that they were even slightly interested in, a maybe or a favorite, I went to that property immediately within 2 or 3 hours. I had nothing but time on my hands, and I would carefully investigate the property. And then that evening, I'd send them notes about the property. You know, this one property was awesome, but the reason it's been on the market for a while is that unfortunately it backs to a gas station. Or another house might be gorgeous, but it smells kind of funny, and I couldn't figure out if it was cigarette smoke or cat pee or a combination of both. And these clients really didn't seem to appreciate all this effort, but I kept putting in the output. Output, output, output. And I didn't care if they bought or not. I figured the very least I could learn a lot about the market. Well, in the end, these clients did end up buying. They became clients. They bought the house. They were super happy, and they had appreciated all of the extra effort I'd put in. And so 6 months later, they introduced me to somebody else who needed to move from California, and I had another client on my hands. Well, that client took a lot less effort to gain than the first client. Now things were slowly starting to roll. But I gotta tell you, that first year, working 14 and 16-hour days, focusing in every way I could with all the power and will I had available to me to be a success, I think I made about $8,000. So again, I was launching something new, and I was putting in an unreasonable amount of effort with very, very mediocre results. And I think that's where most people quit. That's the reason, as an example, that 4 out of 5 realtors don't make it past their first year. And I think it's going to be the same in most sales environments. For most entrepreneurs, it's the delay between all of the work and the actual reward. It's a long delay sometimes. And I know what you're thinking. Well, what about so-and-so that hit it big their first 6 months in business? I'm here to tell you that happens and it's exciting, but it's pretty rare. When I started hitting it big in real estate, people said to me, wow, you came out of nowhere. How did you accomplish that? And I've been coming out of nowhere for about 12 years now. So an overnight success happens, but I think it's pretty rare. Another example of a great output with mediocre results is when you learn to go skiing. When you first learn to get skiing, first you've got to figure out, well, what equipment do I need? What clothing do I need? And it's a bunch of research to get that going. You go out, you buy the clothes, and then you realize I have no way to get my skis on my car up the hill. So then you have to buy a ski rack. You go out, you research the ski racks, you buy a ski rack, you spend half an afternoon trying to figure out how to put the thing on your car, probably damaging your car in the process. But you're finally ready to go the next morning. You get in the car, you're heading up the hill, you're going to take your first ski lesson and learn how to ski, and you spend 3.5 hours in traffic because you didn't know any better. You're going on a Sunday morning when everybody's heading up the hill on a Sunday morning. But you get to the ski resort and you don't know where to park. So you spend half an hour trying to figure out where to park. You finally park, and you end up taking 3 buses to get back to where the ski school is because you don't know where to park. You don't know where the ski school is. Everything is difficult. By this time, you're carrying all of your equipment, you're suited up, you've got your helmet on, you've got your warmest jacket on, you're sweating inside, and it's like 15 degrees outside. And you're wondering to yourself, this is a lot of work, and I haven't even started skiing yet. Then you take a lesson on a really lame hill where you get no speed, no fun, there's none of the adrenaline rush you were hoping for. Instead, you're taught to stand basically with a wedge and hope that you don't go sliding down the hill. You spend most of the afternoon on your ass, you're sore, you're cold, you're tired, and you've had absolutely no fun. This can go on for a few days of skiing before you really get to a place where you start having some enjoyment. It's an unreasonable amount of effort for a very, very mediocre result. But if you focus on the output, if you build a discipline around a rhythm of output, a commitment to do output no matter the outcome, you will sooner or later start to succeed. And I know that you've heard this before, it's common knowledge, but I really want to emphasize that I believe the delay from output to outcome is what makes the difference between those who succeed and those who give up too early. If you embrace what you're doing every day, the work that you're doing every day, the results will come. But I think it's really critical to turn off that voice in your head that says, oh my gosh, is this even worth it? Does this even make sense? Just last night, in the middle of the night, I woke up thinking to myself, don't do that video tomorrow. Everything in my head said, don't shoot this video. It's dumb, it won't add any value, it's not the right story. Who do you think you are putting out your thoughts into the world? But I've learned to turn that voice off a little bit, and I encourage you to do the same. Instead, focus on daily, weekly, monthly output rhythm, and you will find your success. I believe in you, and I hope you can believe in you. Go out there, make a difference, create a goal for yourself around your output. What work are you going to do no matter the results? And I promise you, you'll find the results.